Siri thought I was talking to her. All right, let me just go to Facebook. Okay, let's see.
Watch live now. Put work in podcast.
That's crazy. Who's that?
Hey, I wonder if
Accept the request so it shows as a viewer.
I can pull it up on my other monitor.
I just pulled it up on my phone. I accepted it. Volume down though. Don't
Let's
worry.
see what we got. Stream
So-
settings.
I went and did my Garmin base run the other day, where one of them needed me to run
That's what you were
I
talking
saw
about.
it.
10-minute
what,
miles for
30
30 minutes
minutes?
or something.
I saw that.
I was running with half a nose, so I'm wondering if that's why my heart rate and VO2 max was just.
I didn't know
Not
what you
normal.
were talking about. I never heard of that.
Yeah,
How do you do that?
it gives me a. Whenever I click run, it gives me like today's suggestion of a workout regarding.
I would never listen to that.
I just wanted something different. I wanted to not run so slow for once.
Did it work?
Yeah. It got me running faster.
I did that one time. It told me to get a wheelchair.
So last time you were on, we got like 6 shorts just from your caffeine habits.
Basement pre-workout, an illegal
People were
amount
like,
of caffeine.
how is he alive?
Yes. But I wonder if that's why my average resting heart rate is so low that I'm over caffeinating, and it's like Ritalin to a hyperactive kid. It slows me down.
Yeah, good. Could be. Could be. So we're gonna get into.
Payton's checking his average
Yeah,
resting heart rate.
I was because I remember
I did that the other day.
I looked the other day, and I don't know if I was dreaming or if my heart rate said it was 33. And
My
I'm
resting
hoping
heart
it was
rate
a
right now
dream
is
because
60.
33 is very low.
Yeah, that's what my doctor told me when I did that on the platform at church that Sunday 3 times. She said, "You know, it's that low, it can just stop." I'm like, "Uh-oh." I didn't tell her about my caffeine. I just went home and cut my caffeine. Not out, just down.
Yeah,
You might have
maybe
needed it then.
maybe I was just dreaming. Hopefully, I was.
Well,
You can
Usually
click
when
at the
I'm-
bottom of your Garmin Connect. You can go down there to the last 7 days. If you show that at the bottom, and it'll show your resting heart rate for the last 7 days. If you click on that, it shows you. It breaks down each day to what was your high and low.
I average
My
about
average was
45 to
59.
46.
Do my average is 49.
59 here. Caffeine.
it was-
If I get a lot of caffeine, my heart rate's
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
like
no.
idling high.
means you're not getting enough.
Yeah, probably.
I've noticed that caffeine has not had an effect on my heart rate, really.
Yeah.
It
When you build
mine-
up, go ahead.
It doesn't for me unless I'm like overdosing. Had to like 3 energy drinks.
Well, and I think
Uber
it's
driver.
probably like pre-workout. You use the same pre-workout every day for
Yeah.
an extended time. You build up tolerance, and you get used to
Yeah.
it. So
It makes me. I still can tell that it gives me energy. After like 20 minutes in the gym, I'm like, well, I'm feeling kind of good, but I don't feel any acute effects.
right, don't get any of them fire ants on
Yeah.
your face anymore. Yeah.
Hey, how much is in this thing?
So you go-
35, right? I
You
can't
go
even
to the
find it.
basic line and order beta alanine on its own. You add extra beta alanine.
Yeah, that's actually what I do.
Oh man, yeah, get the steam.
I add the beta. 'Cause the pre-workout I take doesn't have any beta alanine in it. It's 2 scoops. It's 2 scoops is 1 serving, and it's 175 grams of milligrams, not grams, per scoop. So that's like 350
Yeah,
if my math's right.
it is.
Which that didn't really affect me. And then I'll come home and get some coffee and stuff. I haven't been too heavy on the caffeine since I haven't really Ubered a lot. Uber driving late at night, I have to down some caffeine.
I hear you.
Especially because I'm on an early schedule normally. And then, so I have to, I'll be up at like 4 a.m. and then up until like 2 or 3 the next morning. And it's just like brutal. And then that kind of, it messes up my schedule. So I kind of like not doing it, but football season comes back around. I'm getting back after it because that's just easy money.
I hear you. I hear a lot of people talk about it.
I've been able to back off recently since I'm no longer living from hour to hour. And
you've settled in finally?
No, but it's not as bad as it was.
Just getting used to.
I haven't had a 12-hour sleep day in a couple weeks. So,
what are you averaging sleep now? You're averaging 6 hours with that 1 12-hour.
Yeah, then the next week I averaged 5.5 hours with another 12-hour sleep day. The last 7 days, my average sleep is 7 hours and 1 minute.
Let's see what I got. That's pretty good. I'm 7 hours and 46 minutes. That's really good.
I'm 6 hours. I'm 6 hours 18 minutes.
And I've averaged 10,493 steps a day. That's pretty good for me. Well, I did start running again. So, but I've been sleeping good.
Monday was my only day above 8 hours in a while, and it was 9 hours and 20 minutes.
I'm usually doing something if I get 7 hours. If I got 8.5 last night, it's rest day. You can't see it, but it's 8.5, guys.
I'm typically getting anywhere. Oh, I got 4 hours and 33 minutes this day. What in the world?
4 hours?
Yeah. I'm typically getting like 5:45 to 6.5 or so.
It's definitely one of those things you need to try to get as much as you can, but not too much, because then you're just wasting time just sleeping 12 hours a day, Peyton.
I try to get like I would like to get at least 7. It just kind of depends on when I go to sleep in the morning. Because I try to wake up at like 5:30, eat, get ready for the gym, and then work out from like 6:30 to 8:30 or something like that.
People think like, oh, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm not getting any sleep. But like, if you go to bed at 10, that's still 7 hours. That's a long time. Like,
that's kind of how I operate.
You're getting a full night's sleep.
The opposite, 10 in the morning, 5 in the evening.
Yeah. I usually try to go. I'm not getting to sleep till like 8:30 or 9, and then I'm getting up between 4 and 4:30. But like, just get as much sleep as you can, and don't stress out about it. It's so easy to stress out if you're just like, I only got 6 hours last night. I can't squat heavy. Just do it.
Turn that stat. Yeah, turn that stat off in your Garmin Connect.
Yeah.
If it affects you that bad, don't even look at it.
Do what you can, then just live your life.
That's it.
And make sure your Garmin has your time that you actually go to sleep at. Otherwise, you're not going to get any sleep stats.
Yep.
It was weird because back when I had my Instinct, for a couple of days, it just stopped recording my sleep. Of course, I was still going to sleep at the same time. It just stopped recording. I had to like uninstall the device or something and get back on it. And put it back on. But I don't have that junky thing anymore. Now I can wake up and have the option to stop my sleep on this watch.
You can stop it
on
your watch?
If it still goes
like a workout.
If I wake up and I go to see how long I slept, sometimes it will say sleeping because my heart rate's still so low. So I can just stop it and then, but sometimes.
You just wake up and be like, I wonder how long I slept. Just instantly.
Yeah, sometimes.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Need to go back?
Well, once I'm up, there is no going back usually.
Yeah.
Unless I wake up to an alarm and then I'm going back to sleep.
I want to get into the details of the trail later on, but right now I kind of want to just like cruise into it. But like, so since you've been back, what is your like training been like? Have you done anything, or you just been picked up, like,
basically nothing.
nothing?
The day after I went and did, I don't know, 2-3 miles. Monday I went to Grenada and was going to do the Lost Bluff, the one with all the elevation on it, but an incident took place that hindered me, and so I didn't get about 1.3 miles in. And then yesterday I did 5.5 miles, something like that, but I didn't do anything today. I did some hospital visits and stuff.
Cool. Peyton, what have you been doing this week? Haven't heard from you much.
This week has actually been kind of a slower week. This is only my second day working out this week. But
When did you start this week? What
I
your
worked
weeks are kind of
out.
off. It kind of throws me off.
Okay, let me like properly explain this. What's today? Today's Thursday.
Leave me more confused.
I worked out Tuesday night and worked out tonight.
There you go.
I was supposed to work out last night too, and I was actually gonna work out last night and then take the day off so
Just
I could
didn't
be
work
here
out.
for the podcast, but I slept too late. So
Man, you slept till like last night.
yeah.
That's
Well,
how
I
late
was
you
up
slept.
until I slept until it's only like 8:00, but more like 7:30. By the
So
time
I'm
I get
gonna-
up and get ready, I'm only getting like 45 minutes to an hour of a workout. I'm just like I have too much stuff
Yeah.
to do in that time frame. So,
Just do something
but
or nothing, whatever.
I'm basically like on the weekends is when I'm getting the least amount of training in, which is kind of the opposite of what I want.
Yeah, you
But-
think it'd be the other way.
Again, it's just due to like me completely flopping my schedule around for weekends. But
Suboptimal.
yeah, so I'm working on trying to plan my weekends a little better. If I can stay up later on Saturdays, that way I can not be sleeping and driving on the way home from church. So then I can go to sleep, bro. Like I don't know if it was last Sunday or the Sunday before last. It may have been the Sunday, yeah, because Roger wasn't there. And Jonathan was preaching, and it's not like he was boring or anything. It was just me, just like the whole time. Because I was running on nothing. But if I'm hoping to kind of stay up a little bit later on Saturdays to transition into Sunday a little bit better. But at the same time, be able to work. I haven't been working out Sunday night, Sunday morning like I need to. I've just been that's been my lazy day. So if I can start doing that and just take off Sunday nights, I should be back on the roll. I got a few more runs to knock out this month. So I got to beat Dylan and Trevor. There's no way Trevor
Yeah.
knocks out 30 miles in 8 days, like he says. I don't believe it. But
I believe it.
Dylan, I got to beat him.
So we've been Peyton's been a little bit ahead of me. He's been running like almost every day. I feel like that he works out.
Yeah, every day I go to the gym, I've hit a run because it's been so sporadic on the days I go. I can. So
I'm not really worried about beating Peyton, but the other day I was done with everything else. I deadlifted. I hit a PR. I'm going to show that video actually in a second. I might as well pull it up right now. Since I'm here, share screen. Let's see if we can
shameless
figure
plug.
out. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this video of me deadlifting. Okay, so y'all see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna play it. This is the other day in the gym.
See, off the ground, you do pretty good. It's that lockout. You gotta do some rack.
Oh, that was
pulls.
fine. Once you get it above the knee, I'm just like there. I'm not worried about it. It's off the ground is where I struggle. If it's not moving off the ground, it's just like once it started. See, it picked up fast around the knee. It slowed down a lot, but I knew I had it. All I had to do was lock it out.
My man
Philip
turned
Ferguson.
and looked at the camera.
Yeah, I was like, yes, let's go. 4:45.
That's awesome.
I'm catching up to Peyton.
I'm usually already.
I should have went
looking
for
at the
more
camera
now.
'cause
As
of my
fast as
angles.
that went,
Well, I don't know. You did like 20 singles. I saw your numbers on the board when I went in tonight.
well, half of those were power cleans.
and then the other half was the other 20. You did like 20 power cleans, and then
It wasn't that many.
I don't know. I
I
didn't
mean,
count.
445 is a lot of pounds to
It was
add
a
up
lot
to.
of numbers.
I'm trying to pull the comments. There we go. A little vulgarity. Just ignore that. I haven't read these comments yet. Y'all know Fields? Y'all know Fields.
I know Fields.
Anyways, shout out to me for that.
Yeah, shout out Dylan. We'll
If
get
you
him
can
on
shout
one of these
myself
days.
out. Yeah,
Talk about his deadlift.
elite level in his own mind. So, anyways, I did that, and then I did like one other thing that day, and I had like an hour to spare. So I was like, I'm just gonna get on the treadmill because I missed one of my runs last week, a 4-miler, which was my long run, if you want to call that long. Marathon training, that's not very long, but I just get on the treadmill. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do like 30 minutes, just 30-minute easy run, because I had an 30-minute easy run on the schedule for the week. And I got on there and I was like, man, I might just do 15 minutes, might just do 20. Got there and I was like, all right, 30. I got to 30 and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going. I ended up doing an hour. And when I was doing that, I was like, man, I just need to. I looked at our mileage and I was 5 miles behind Peyton, just a little under 5 miles. Apparently, like 4.7 miles under Peyton. So I'm like, I'm going to do this extra run and I'm going to get in front of Peyton just real quick. Because he's going to take off with it. Because I'm not going to put any extra mileage in.
And then you're like a fraction below me still, aren't you?
I'm 0.02 below him. That's how far I missed it. I ran for an hour and got off and looked, and I was only 0.02 behind him. I was like, man, we'll see how it turns out. Trevor's got a lot. He's going to run a lot longer than we are because he's a lot closer. He's actually doing 3 marathons this year.
Woo.
That's what I said. He's doing one before us. I think it's September. And then he's doing one with us October 15th. Me and Peyton are doing that.
When we get to the
16
hiking
weeks,
part,
3
you need to
days.
be in here anyway.
I gotta
anybody-
add that to my calendar. Have a countdown going.
Yeah. If anybody's watching this, you want to join our team, we'll come up with a name. But October 15th, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Seven Bridges Marathon. We're running it. We're doing it. We're all committing. We're all training. Well, Roger's not, but
I'll do the pre
Me
and
and
post
Peyton.
meals with y'all.
that'd be nice. So we're doing that, and then he's doing the St. Jude, which was the original plan, but I'm not doing it this year.
How you spell? There it is.
Chat
Tuh.
Nougat.
Okay, chat.
It's like nougat.
I don't know what time, but I'll just say something all day. That'll do.
It's probably like 7 in the morning. Yeah, it's gonna take up your whole day, your whole weekend. We need to like rent an Airbnb.
We're gonna have to do something. Go up there Saturday because it's gonna be Sunday morning. To go up
We're
there
gonna go
Saturday.
up there like Thursday probably. Get a whole vacation in that.
Another
Peyton's
one.
about just go up, do the race, and leave. We're the type of people.
Well, because
me and
Chattanooga
Abby-
is only like what?
Me,
4
we're the type
hours
of
away?
people like, hey, we're going. We're gonna make the drive. We're gonna enjoy it and stay a couple days and just explore.
Peyton isn't going to spend the money. He is going to
No.
hold on to that money.
And he's kind of a loner too. Like if he don't have anybody there that he knows, he's just gonna be like,
Yeah, like
see ya.
when I went to the Nashville race in the Spartan Nashville last year, I drove up there by myself. Was in the hotel room by myself until like 11 o'clock, and then I hear beating on the door, and it's Matt Robertson. So then I had to wake up and let him in. I think he was beating on the door for like 15 minutes, and then I finally woke up. So I let him in, then went back to sleep, and then I drove home by myself. So that was pretty boring.
Could have picked up a hitchhiker.
Yeah, I thought about picking up something like a rabbit or something, and then drop him off when I get home.
Yeah, we went to the Atlanta for the Spartan. We didn't do anything. We were
To
there
be
for,
fair, like I was
you got
beat.
home and you were
Okay.
done, bro.
We
He
tried
was fully
some.
dressed to go out to eat, and we were gonna go see a movie, or something, and then he just gets in the bed. Next thing I know, this dude is like laid up in the bed, fully asleep. I mean, with full dress on. And I'm like, bro, you're not doing anything. Let's just get some food and go to bed.
Yeah.
We cut this movie on, and he's like asleep. Like, I don't even know what to describe it. Like, he didn't look like he was asleep, but he was like passed out.
Well, I
like
watched
5
most of
minutes
that
in the
movie.
Most of it.
Yeah, it was at
It was
the
getting to
end
the
that
good
I
part,
had,
and you fell asleep.
I had to
You're
go
like,
back.
I gotta watch it.
I had to when I got home. I had to watch the rest of the movie because I think it was after they got off the train or something. I had to go back and
Yeah, it
watch.
was a pretty good movie. Did you finish Extraction 2?
Oh yeah, Extraction 2 was a banger movie.
Those movies are. I'm trying to think of a word to say it. They're a I'm trying to think of
A cinematic masterpiece.
Cinematic. There we go. Cinematic masterpieces. Like they put so much work into just like
The choreography, the
groundbreaking choreographing, the just the cameras and like the shots. There's like a 20-minute one shot.
and then the gym scene. Oh.
Yeah, don't recommend watching that.
Anyway, to explain, Extraction 2, it's a Netflix movie. So they had Extraction. It was when did it come out?
One.
Like 2017 or something like that. 2018.
No, it was like a year or two ago.
I don't think
It's
was
pretty
that long.
recent. You said 2017. I said it was only 2 years, and you said you don't think it was that long. You're confusing me.
Extraction was 2020. So
There you go.
I was close. We were both.
I think
close.
I was closer.
Anyway, starring Chris Hemsworth, and it's just an action movie. I forget what the original one was about, but
Extracting.
yeah, it's some kind of extraction. But the second one
Pretty
came out like last week. It's a pretty good movie.
Friday. Yeah, it's pretty good. If you're into violence.
Yeah. If you're into a lot of shooting and leg
you're
press
not-
falling on people's necks, you know.
Man. They were fighting in a gym. That's just it's not good for gym people to watch. You'd be paranoid in the gym. Oh man, it's bad. All right. So we talked about what we did this week, I think. That was my highlight of the week, the PR.
Yeah.
But Roger, you just got back from recap to people of what you just did.
We did the Maryland and West Virginia sections, hiking those on the Appalachian Trail. So we drove up on Friday. We left around noon or so. Drove to Sevierville, or actually Kodak is the name of the exit there. Stayed in a hotel that night. That was about 7 hours, which left us about 6.5 the next day. Drove up rest of the way on Saturday. Checked into the 0-day stay hostel, which is a guy took a house and converted it. He's redone everything. It's like brand new. And so he rents the rooms out in this house. So it's like a personally owned hotel for hikers that are on the trail. So it includes your room. And unlike a lot of them, he has male and female restrooms with showers, full tub. You get a private room, which is not at most hostels, usually just big bunk bed rooms. But you get your own private rooms. He includes kitchen, but it doesn't have somebody's name on it. It includes all your eggs, waffles, coffee, drinks, everything. It's an awesome place. So we Saturday afternoon, a friend of mine that lives about 20 minutes from there came and picked my wife and I up, and we went and ate supper with he and his family, who his grandfather basically has been one of my best friends since I met him while I was in the Navy training for nuclear medicine. And he died 2 years ago, but got to spend time with Greg and his family. He took us back. And then Sunday afternoon, we started out on the Appalachian Trail in what they call the Penmar Park, which is on the Pennsylvania-Maryland line. When we hit the trail, we went north about 0.2 of a mile so we could take pictures at the Mason-Dixon line with the sign there. And then we turned back south and went right back past where we came from. But then we hiked it, and we had scheduled to go in on Sunday afternoon, and with hopes of making it to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, by late Thursday evening, before dark, which we didn't understand. Dark there, and even late into the 9 o'clock hour, you could still see. They're an hour ahead of us, and sunset here is, well, no, mine's already gone to sunrise because it's past sunset. But it's eight something here right now, so it was 9 something plus the 30 minutes till dark. So we were hoping to make it to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, Thursday evening late, but we did extra miles every day, and we ate lunch in Harper's Ferry on Wednesday, which means we still had a day and a half's worth of food in our backpacks. We could have saved that weight, but we didn't know about that. But yeah, we basically did it. It was Sunday afternoon and Wednesday morning, and then Monday and Tuesday. So really 4 days of 3-4 days of hiking. Really is all we did, added together, and 3 days, because it was an evening and a morning plus 2 full days. And it was, we enjoyed it. I say we'd do it again, but we're discussing now, what do we want to do this fall. So the options are Connecticut, because it has 50 miles on the AT, but that's a long drive to get there, or 6 hours to Georgia and start at the southern terminus, and we could do whatever mileage we want there. We could do 30 miles, 60 miles, whatever we wanted to do, and then just come on back home. So we're in the discussion phase of that.
That's interesting.
That's
I'm
overview.
Interested in that. That's awesome though that y'all did
that
in a whole day extra. But you know what they say about the food thing? It's better to need have, not need to have need.
That's true. Oh, Cliff Olson saw me in Walmart, me and my wife, and he told us, he said the biggest thing is, he said, you're going to overpack. You're going to carry too much food. But in reality, even though we came off the trail of food, it was because, now I took one extra freeze-dried meal with me in case someone else ran out of food or just wanted to try one of them. Outside of that, we had the exact amount of food for lunch that day, which we didn't eat. We ate at a restaurant. For dinner that evening, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner the next day, plus snacks in between those. But outside of that, I mean, we planned it perfect food-wise. But when I got home, I'll tell you one thing I did, which we used a bear canister, which isn't required in the area, but we used it anyway. And so I took my bear canister, the food that was left in it. I took a couple items that either I didn't use, or even if I pulled it out, it really wasn't a necessity. And I weighed those, and that was basically 10 pounds. So if I'd have known we were going to, get off trail that day and a half early and just not carried those couple extra items, I could have started with my pack 10 pounds lighter.
Awesome. So when you do that, so you have somebody like pick you up when you get to where you're going?
Well, ours worked out good. Now, and that's the thing about Connecticut. We do have friends up there. Dana even has spoke about buying tickets now. So we can get tickets into Boston for just barely over $200 each. We could fly into Boston. We have friends in Massachusetts who would pick us up, especially if we were going to go southbound. If we were going to start on the north and Connecticut, Massachusetts state line and hike south through Connecticut, that would be even very simple. Then they would come pick us up when we get to the south end of the trail, the section we were doing. That's what we did there. We drove and parked at the hostel that was right there at the basically northern point of where we started our hike. And then we hiked back through southbound to West Virginia. And my buddy who lives up there, he and his girlfriend came the day we finished the trail. They came and met us at Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and picked us and our 5 backpacks up and drove us back north to where our vehicle was at the hostel. And so that saved anywhere along that AT, you're going to have shuttle services. So you could, like, we started with 8 people in our group, and we had planned to go to that first shelter that first afternoon because by testimony and everything reviews we read, that first section was going to be the most incline in per distance traveled and the rockiest terrain we would cover. Well, it was for that day, but it wasn't for the trail. I mean, every day, basically, we had 2,000 feet of incline gain, and the rocks were from beginning to end. I mean, it just didn't matter. Was it boulders or was it fist or double fist size rocks you were walking over? Very little of it was not rock covered. But with that, you know, he brought us back up there. As we started with 8 people, went to that first shelter that first evening that we'd planned on doing. There was a family of 3, a mother, father, and son, and the son did he wound up twisting his ankle, rolling his ankle. But once we made it to that first shelter we'd agreed on, we got there. Well, we're like, hey, there's too much daylight left. Why just sit here and look at each other? We can make it to the next one 5 miles down the trail. And nobody disagreed, so we headed out. And but that family of 3, when they crossed their second blacktop road in that second section that day that we hadn't planned to hike, they stopped on the road and called a shuttle and that drove them back up to their vehicle at the hostel, and then they drove back to Mississippi. It left 5 of us on the trail, and the 5 of us finished the trail together. So, but like I say, you can get hot. You can get those shuttles. They're everywhere. We had phone service pretty much the length of the trail, kind of like even around here. You might go 5 minutes without service, and then the wind shifts, and you caught service. So if we were messaging, we started each day together, and we ended up in the same place every day. But we just kind of basically hiked our own hikes in between. So whoever was in the lead would just put in our messenger group where they had stopped, so we wouldn't just bypass them. We stopped in the same places for lunch, you know, and then headed back out. So we could keep up with each other. So it was easy for that family to call a shuttle to come get them, take them back to their vehicle, and they headed back. Like I said, then the other 5, we finished it out. So
awesome. You said that Cliff does a lot of hiking as well.
Cliff has actually hiked a section, I don't know how much, of the AT. So that he saw us in Walmart, so he was just, you know, kind of going over some pointers and asking us about our plans and stuff, and
awesome,
our equipment and how much our pack. Usually one of the first things they're going to know is how much is your pack, you know. So everybody tries to shoot for the lowest. Look, I carried like 3 different items that I knew I didn't need, and I knew it was going to be extra poundage, but I had already prepped around here mileage per day, and the pack weight wasn't going to be an issue. I just didn't have the opportunity or the ability to practice for the true elevation gain we were going to do, but it didn't matter. It was fine. It was just, you pace yourself. If you had to slow down or even stop for half a minute or a minute, you do that, and then you carry on again. But it was good. It was fun. It rained 2 of those days we were on the trail, but it was a light rain. So it wasn't a drenching rain. It kept the temperatures down, no humidity. My only disappointment on the entire hike was we didn't get to see a black bear on the trail. I was the only one out of the 5 that wanted to see a live bear while we were hiking. Everybody's like, no! And I'm like, yeah. I said, I don't care if it's far away and going the other direction. I just want to see a black bear while we're hiking the AT. Well, I see who had more pull with God. He answered their prayers and not my one. But anyway, that was my only disappointment on the whole trail. The trail was a blast. It was challenging but rewarding. Met a lot of good people. Well, look, we pull up to one. Bill and Laura McGee, they were always the lead of the pack. She drug us around that trail. And so they had already hit one of the shelters for lunch. And Bill texted me and said, hey, we stopped at this shelter. He said, there's a hippie up here smoking dope, but I think he's about to leave. And we said, well, we're less than a mile from there. So we got there before the hippie left. And so I sat down there at the bottom of the hill. No, I say bottom of the hill. It was on the flat when you first get to the shelter. And then there was probably about a 20-yard rise up to the shelter. And it had a covered front porch that had a picnic table there, and it had benches built in on the porch. Well, I sat down at the table on the ground with Bill and his wife, pulled my shoes and socks off, letting everything air out. Well, my wife and the other lady that was still in the group, they went up there and sat on the porch with this dude. And I hear my wife ask the guy, so what's your name? And I'm like, oh, no. He tells her this. She goes, what's your last name? I'm like, don't ask him his last name. Yeah. Then she goes, where are you from? I'm like, oh, my goodness, stop. And I hear him say, Memphis. Well, then they continue on talking, and I can't understand everything. But the next clear thing I hear is the name of a man in our church. And I'm like, what did he say? And that the gentleman he said, he passed away about a year. But this guy we meet on the trail halfway through Maryland on the Appalachian Trail, pulled off the trail like 4/10 of a mile to this shelter. This guy was best friends with this couple that was in our church with their son for years. And I text the wife and told her, we just met. And I thought he said Cody. And she was very gracious. She wrote back and said, oh, yes, Corey was very good friend. They were best friends. And it was amazing. It was also neat because she said, you know, I'm glad y'all saw him. I'm fixing to call his mother, that his mother didn't know where he was, didn't even know if he was alive, and hadn't heard from him in an extended period of time.
Wow.
And she said, what a joy to get to call his mom, say, hey, my pastor and his wife just saw your son on the Appalachian Trail. My wife even took a picture of him and said they talked to him. He's doing fine. He's fine. And he hit the trail while they were there, headed north, and he's still headed north on the Appalachian Trail. You know, and who but God could arrange a meeting like that to help a mom?
That's crazy.
Here to, you know, we're going to lead somebody to faith in Christ and everything. That may have been the sole purpose for us driving that far, hiking that trail, just to encourage a mother, her son was still alive and good. You never know.
That's awesome.
It was a joy to hear the excitement about that. But to find somebody all the way up there out in the middle of nowhere that knew somebody in your church and was best friends with their son, that was crazy.
That's pretty slim odds of that.
Yeah. Okay, and my biggest surprise. All right, my biggest surprise on the whole trip was my water filter. I've never filtered water before. Even when we did our overnight survival hike with Jordan in 2017, you know, they packed me down with one backpack that had like 30-something bottles of bottled water in it. We didn't filter nothing. I mean, I was the pack mule. I told you last time. They about killed this old man. But look, this time I was a little wiser. So I took 2 water filtering systems. There's one called the Sawyer Squeeze, which is probably the workhorse on the AT or any through hikes. They say like 100,000 gallons or 1 million gallons, whatever, basically lifetime. It should last you as long as you don't let it freeze. If it freezes, the water inside those the filter itself expands and it ruins the filtering system. It can't filter those small microbes anymore. But as long as you don't let it freeze, that thing will last as long as you can back flush it if it starts getting slow rate of flow on filtering. But I also carried a Katadyn Be-Free, which is I don't know, it's kind of like a real soft rubbery latex 1 liter bottle that you can roll. I mean, it's just so flexible. It doesn't make noise. But it has a screw-on cap that has a built-in filter to it with a pop top like a sports bottle. Well, that thing, I never even used the Sawyer Squeeze. That Katadyn Be-Free 1 liter bottle, the flow rate was crazy. I mean, it was about as big as round as my little finger coming out of it. And you didn't even hardly have to even squeeze it. I mean, actually, you just turn it upside down, it starts flowing. But just you can squeeze it, and it gets a faster flow rate. But what I couldn't believe, the first time I used it, I got that creek water, pulled the bag up, and it was a tainted brown water. I'm like, oh, this is great. I put the little thing down in it, and I took it and I squeezed it into my one of our drink bottles, and that we had with us, the clean water bottle. And when I squeezed it down there, crystal clear. And when I drank that water, which I won't drink the water out of my tap here, it's North Tallahatchie Water Association. I mean, I took a picture while I was soaking in Epsom salt one time, and in my tub, just like from my knees down. After they got through talking about my ugly feet, they ought to be ashamed. They left my ugly feet alone. Then they started talking about, what is that brown water you're in? I mean, that's what our water's like here. We won't even use it in our coffee maker. But I'm telling you, that water, after I ran it through that Katadyn Be Free filter, crystal clear, and was, of course, cold because of the creek, but it tasted so good. It was crazy good. I never pulled my Sawyer out, which it'll work, but that one was so easy to use. We just used it the whole time, but it blew me away at what that little bitty filter inside that little drinking bottle was able to do to that dirty water. It was crazy. I came home and filtered a bottle out of my sink, out of my tap water. It still tasted bad. I know it was clean and germ-free, but it still tasted like North Tallahatchie Water Association water.
Just think about the chemicals they probably put in that too.
Yeah, well, that'll get the chemicals out. You know, it'll filter the chemicals out, but it's still it's nasty water. It's just bad. Nasty water, man.
Yeah, I've always wondered about the filters. I was always kind of nervous. I haven't had a situation where I've had to use one yet, but.
Hey, Dylan.
There it is. That's my.
That's it.
Katadyn Be Free.
Be Free.
And it's just, I mean, that thing, it's just like a soft rubber latex. That's the filter in it right there, which that looks big, but it's really not. I mean, here's.
How long does that last?
This one says 1,000 gallons, and that's why some people don't like it, because, you know, they say it doesn't last long enough. This right here is like $27, and for the flow rate and how easy it was to use, I'll just replace this every time.
1,000 gallons.
Yeah,
that's like,
well,
I mean,
but you
take
lot. But you take a through hiker that's going to hike 2,200 miles and filter basically water over the course of 6 months. You know, and you take us, what we typically did, I had 2 1 water bottles, and I had a 700 ml smart water bottle. So every time we left in the morning and at lunch, and then in the evenings, we had all 3 of those bottles filled, plus this one was still full itself. Because, I mean, this, and you could do the Sawyer, that Sawyer squeeze, you can screw it on top of this, well, you wouldn't this, but on a smart water bottle, and you can drink straight from it if you want to. But like this, when you start to lead, you can just fill it up with water and stick it in your pack. And anytime you need it, you could just drink your water straight out of this, because it's, like I say, it's a pop top, just like any sports water bottle. But that little dude right there is the cat's me out, buddy. That's what I'll use.
How much does that cost?
This, there's another difference. This was basically $50 through Amazon, where the Sawyer squeeze, and you get the squeeze, you get the filter, you get 2 collection bags that are 1 liter each that you catch dirty water in. You get a couple little items with it, and it's like $24. But you know, like you say, that right there, I think it's $27 every 1,000 gallons. But I would, for the ease of use of this dude, yeah. But I guess if somebody's going to do it every year round, and obviously not working while they're hiking for 6 months at a time, they try to, like, they cut every gram. These dudes count grams. They don't look at pounds that they cut off of their pack weight. They look at grams that they're trying to cut off of their pack weight. They do the same thing with money. I mean, because they're having to finance it, you know, and pay for that trip while they're on it. So, but for me, I'll pay the $27 to replace the filter in it. I'm not going to filter 1,000 gallons a year, you know. So
yeah, that's
when I think I'm getting close.
If I'm drinking a gallon a day, that'd take me 1,000 days. That's like
if I think I'm getting close on the filter, I'll get some of that nasty creek water, filter it, and give it to my wife, and see if she gets diarrhea and starts throwing up. If she does, I'll change filters.
Yeah, she'd be the litmus test.
Because how do you test it? How do you know?
You'll find out.
Yes, you will.
During your hike, is the water like plentiful? Like, are
Yeah.
you always near water on that?
Well, that really depends on the trail and the season. Where we were, it showed the map. I used the Far Out app, and it shows you every water source along the way. You take the shelter we stayed at the last night, because you have to stay either in a shelter or camp around the designated camp area around the shelter. Well, that last shelter or camping area that night, it was a barely trickle of a stream coming down a hill, and it was to the point that Bill got there first. So Bill had went and got a big oak leaf, and he had the leaf and the walk down in that little trickle, and made like a little small funnel or a V with that leaf, which made it a lot easier than trying to collect that water off of the, against the ground underneath the water. And it worked a lot better that way. Now, there were several holes below it that were holding water that you could have went down there and just dipped, your dipped this little bottle in and then squeezed it out. But that was probably the slowest water supply. Let's see, 2 of them were actually pipes coming out of the side of a hill, and I mean, they were
Springs.
Yeah, but that or just runoff, but they put that up there somewhere to somewhat give it some direction, where it's not just spreading out thin on the creek bottom. And it was, especially one of those, it was slower than this thing filtered, its flow rate. But still, what does it matter, if it takes 5 minutes to fill up all of your bottles? I mean, I'm not that big a hurry. So some people talk about that, but that wasn't a big deal to me. It didn't bother my wife bending down that long to fill up all those water bottles. So it didn't bother me. So no, I'm kidding. She did it. She collected the water the last night at that last shelter where it was so slow. She did. She went up there and sat, but she came back a lot quicker than I thought she would. So like I say, those filters just blew me away what they'll do.
Now, would you be able to pee in that filter?
Well, they say you can drink your own pee without filtering it. Just don't drink somebody else's pee.
What if we wanted to switch pee?
No, well, I'll let you try mine. You tell me how it works out for you.
Salty.
I doubt it. I don't think you'd taste the salt. That filter is bad.
Sugar.
That filter is bad news. Do what? Do what, Peyton?
Oh, so probably some sugar.
Yeah, that's probably what you'd got from mine before.
Some
But hey, now I'll tell you this. Hey, the morning we were going to leave on the hike, I weighed, and I had been intermittent fasting, getting ready for it. And that last little while, I actually cut my intermittent fasting to a 2-hour feeding window. And I was only eating between 4 and 6 in the evening. And so the morning we were going to leave that day at lunch, I stepped on the scale, and I was 179.6 or 0.8. And that's the first time I've been in the 170s since 1988 when I joined the Navy. I dropped 25 pounds in that last 6 weeks. And I actually even dropped my A1C. That's what made me think about when you said sugar in the urine. I actually even dropped my A1C 1.2 points in that 6 weeks, which is crazy in a 6-week time frame. So I was excited. I was pumped for the trip. That helped.
Yeah. Do you feel like you had a lot more energy? Or
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, and most people say, that is true. It's a straight conversion. I think I only had one person go me, it's not going to work out that way. But my theory I was working with was every pound of body weight I cut is a pound of my backpack I would on my feet, not my back, but my feet wouldn't feel. And so I cut 25 pounds and my pack weighed 31 pounds. And remember, every leader bottle you fill up with water is 2.2 pounds. You know, so when you get 2 liters and a 700 ml, you know, you're at what, 4.4 plus another over a pound. You're right at 6 pounds of water you're carrying with you in that pack at that point. So I think one of the people on there, they carried 3 full liters every time between every water source. So, but we didn't run out of water. I'll say that we did not run out of water, and that was good. I gained, and I did cut, and I'm sure some of that 179 point whatever it was dehydration, you know, was being dehydrated. But everybody else on the trip lost weight. I gained 6 pounds on the hiking trail.
You were hydrated.
Well, not only that, I was only eating between 4 and 6 in the evening. On that trail, I ate breakfast. I ate snacks between breakfast and lunch. I ate lunch. I ate snacks between lunch and dinner, and I ate a supper every night. You know, so my body
had
was
more energy than them.
Yeah, my body. That's why I say the trail really, it wasn't an issue. The rocks, my feet, when I say hurt, they were sore. They were beat up every night from those rocks. But outside of that, the trail, I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, you saw how much trail running I did prepping for this hike. Yeah, but so my feet and legs were ready for the miles. My feet weren't ready for the rocks, and my legs weren't used to the elevation. But most of the people were having more issues going down the elevation on the descents than they were the ascents of gaining elevation. Gaining elevation, you just take your time, but going down, it was tearing some people's knees up. I had a friend, Como, the week before we left. He went to Georgia and was going to finish out a section in Georgia that they had started. And I don't know if he made it a whole day or into the second day, or if it was during the first day. He had to pull off trail because going down one of those declines, his knee gave out on him. You know, he told me, he said, Roger, make sure you're, you know, prepping for downhill as much as you are uphill. And I told him the only prep I can do for that is Grenada, and I not run it, but I hike it in both directions. So I make sure to work every muscle evenly on the inclines and declines. I said, it's the only thing I forgot and all I know to do. But it was a blast.
Speaking of the weight, I weighed myself at the gym. I think it was Tuesday.
I was going to ask you what you weighed.
And it's weird because I weighed myself at the gym twice. It was before I started working out or during like my first exercise and then after my run. And the only thing that changed between the weighs was what shoes I was wearing. So I had my lifters on when I originally weighed. And I think I had my phone in my pocket too. But other than that, I weighed 186 with all that on. After my run, I didn't have my lifters on anymore. I had my running shoes on. Oh, no, it was 186 with my shoes on. When I weighed after my run, I weighed 181.
Yeah.
I'm like,
your shoes are meant to be light, but you still lost a lot of sweat running.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So while at the gym, but through the calories lost, and I think I peed once or twice, it was like 4 or 5 pounds lost, or difference anyway.
Yeah, I've done that.
Shoes.
I've done that just in the bathtub, soaking in the Epsom salt water. I've cut 3 pounds and something in an hour.
Wow.
Laying in Epsom salt water way before, soak in it, sweat, you know. But as soon as I get out, I have to rehydrate or I'm going to get cramps all night in my legs, you know. So it's just taking weight from one hand, putting it in the other. But it's still, like I was telling somebody this week that was asking me once I got home about the intermittent fasting. I said, even though doing those soaks, you're really just dehydrating yourself, and then you have to rehydrate yourself. I said, but it is still good for the process because it helps detox your system, which also helps to detox with the fat, you know. And that's one of my things. I got to get back to the gym now because I know cutting that much weight that quick, it wasn't all fat. I lost some lean, not that I had much lean muscle, but except my tongue maybe. But you know, I know.
179's of muscle.
Yeah. So I told Becky, I dropped by the gym yesterday to see Becky and told her I got to get back. I got to, you know, at least firm up a little. I know well, they tell me at my age, you know, adding muscle mass is hard to do, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, just speaking on what Peyton was talking about with losing the 5 pounds or whatever, I went to the movies Tuesday night and I ate like a whole thing of popcorn and I drank the whole. We had like a Dr. Pepper and then some candy, you know, and like I hydrated a lot. Like I drink like a gallon a day, but I hit like 20 cups that day, which would be, I don't know how much that is. It's like
160.
a gallon and a
If
quarter.
you mean like actual cups, it should be a
Yeah.
gallon and a quarter.
It's a gallon and a quarter.
160 ounces.
Yeah, so I was hydrated and I had all that popcorn in me. I woke up 3 pounds heavier the next day, 197, which is the heaviest I've ever been. But I'm not real freaked out about it. But
Bulking up, man. You're bulking.
I actually am trying to gain weight. So
hang around me.
But
go on a hike with me, you gain weight.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Follow the fat guy and eat like him.
Matt Fraser, you know who Matt Fraser is? CrossFitter guy.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He said when during the games, the CrossFit games every year, he would try to gain weight. Just that he was like shoving food in his mouth so much.
Yeah.
Refuel and replenish. That he was trying to gain weight. That's what he was trying to do throughout the weekend. And he said he did that just about every time, which is probably one of his secrets because most people in a competition are eating less just because they're nervous.
But he was fueling the system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't watched any of the which did they do any of the professional opens or anything during the pandemic or anything? Because I hadn't watched any.
Yeah, actually the one that year when it was 2020.
Yeah.
They switched it to an online. They had a stage before the in-person, so they only women to the games, and it was at the original place where they had the games at a ranch in California. Yeah. And then they had like 30 of each on an online games right before that, which that was his last year, I think.
Yeah.
He retired after that.
Madero's run 21, and he won last year too, didn't he?
21, 22. We're in 23 right now, so yeah.
I don't know. This year might be last year for me.
And next year. The way your night schedule is. So basically what I'm hearing is it was easier than you thought it was going to be.
I would say so.
Okay.
But and I don't. Well, I would say this. It wasn't. I think I was better prepared than I thought I was.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That is known. They do say that is the easiest. That nowhere on the Appalachian Trail is easy, but within itself, that is the easiest section you can cover.
Okay, so don't get a big head then.
Oh no, sir.
When you're talking about Connecticut, is that where it stops? Would that be the north?
Oh
end?
No.
Where does it stop?
Baxter, Maine, at Mount Katahdin.
Okay, Maine all the way to Georgia.
That's it. Springer Mountain to Mount Katahdin in Maine. And the thing about, I was showing my wife, I've already pulled up the Connecticut section and looked at it. And it's 52 miles. And where we just did, they show 42 miles in Maryland. It doesn't count any of the Pennsylvania or any of the West Virginia. I just had that section open in Maryland. And it showed like 42 miles. And we did like 5,900 and something feet of elevation. The Connecticut is 52 miles with it's crazy compared. I think it's 20,000 feet of elevation gain compared to our 5,000 and something. Yeah, exactly. I'm fixing to open it up.
Like that Spartan race that Peyton was looking at. It was like all elevation.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe next year doing the Killington, in the Killington, Vermont Beast.
Yeah.
It's like 15,000 feet of elevation gain or
It's
something.
up a wall basically. You go up and down a wall.
Yeah.
Climbing up a building.
Oh, stop. And you do understand why they named that Killington.
It killed a
Gonna
ton of
kill you.
people.
You better believe it. All right, let's see. Is that it?
Actually, I'll go look it up right quick.
Yeah, I'm looking my Connecticut up. Oops.
So there was something I was thinking of that I had on my head, in my head the other day.
On your head.
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
A
hat.
because I was thinking about the Spartan because I just watched Dylan's video about our Spartan trip, and I was thinking about the Spartan because, here I am. I consider that trip to be like a very mentally challenging trip, because
Yeah.
I ran 24.3 something miles in, I think it was less than 30-hour time frame or something. Most I've ever ran. The weather made it terrible. The Beast I ran in like 4 hours and 25 minutes or something. And then the fastest speed was like 2 hours. And I'm just like, I'm sure it was just as hard for those people, just harder for a less amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like we do, like you did the AT, right? And for you, it was relatively easy, or I say,
Yeah, that section.
as hard as it was for you, I'm sure it's just as hard for the through hikers that are like super quick with it, just for a less amount of time. It's like,
they
running.
do get, and of course we were only on the trail for a total of full 3 days. It was 2 full days and 2 half days, but the through hikers do get what they call their hiking, their trail legs. Once them dudes get their trail legs, they'll do 20, 25, even some of them 30 miles a day. They're hiking 10 hours, but they'll do that many miles in a day. That Professor Carl, that was his goal this past year in a calendar year, was to do 30 miles plus every day. No 0 days, nothing. Every day, 30 plus miles. So I think it's all subjective, to the person, their fitness. Well, you just take like us on that trail. The people with longer legs in our group just ran off and left the rest of us, Or take this. What causes it to be more challenging to some than others? My wife hiked the dumb thing in sandals. I'm talking open-toed sandals. She had hiking boots. She bought a pair of Ultra Lone Peak 6s, just like I had, but when she wore them to work for a few days, she hurt across the top of her foot, and she said nope. So we went back to REI, and she got, I forget what company then, their trail running shoe. She wore those to work a couple of days. Said no, they're too stiff. So she wears her sandals on the entire section of the Appalachian Trail that we do. And I'm going, and here I am, been worried about my feet and getting these shoes and all this stuff. My woman busted it out in a pair of, now she wore Injinji toe socks and open-toed sandals and did the whole thing. I have no clue how she did it. So for me to have tried to have done it in those sandals would have killed me. I don't know. I don't think I could have finished it in those. So there can be different things, even to the individual, that would make it more challenging or less challenging. So, but those through hikers, man, a lot of them, they are ultralights, meaning their pack with no water or food weighs less than 10 pounds. What are you looking at, Peyton? Did you look up what? He must have looked up my Instagram page and saw me on Instagram or something.
So I was looking up the Spartans, right? I was wrong on the Killington. The Beast is 6,700 feet of elevation gain, but the Ultra is 15 and a half 15,500.
Yeah.
But what made me gas just then was I looked at because I knew there was one that was like a sprint that was like crazy. The Tri-State New Jersey weekend. The sprint itself is 5,000 feet of elevation gain.
In 3.5 miles.
It has almost
3.1.
almost as much elevation gain as the Beast does.
Yeah. And the Connecticut section is not 20,000, it's 12,000. But it's only 10 miles more than we hiked. So it's a fourth of the distance more than what we did last week, but it's twice the elevation gain. But it don't look like a whole lot of extreme. It's just a lot of roller coastering. It's just constant up, down, up, down, up, down. But I just can't imagine how pretty that would be in the fall to hike that trail in New England during the fall foliage.
Man. Got me
It's hard. It's hard not to follow through on that one and go to Georgia. I don't know. Gonna take a lot of debate.
So fall break is typically in October, right?
Exactly. It's in the fall.
So Dylan, how would we manage Connecticut and Chattanooga in the same month?
I don't know. I don't.
What's the
It's gonna be hard to
date?
squeeze it in this year.
What's
October
the date for
15th
Chattanooga?
October 15th.
Yeah, see, we're figuring we don't have the South Panola school calendar yet. So we're trying to, we got to figure out when their fall break is. Typically, it's around the 3rd. Well, this year, the first week of October is October 1st is on Sunday. So we don't know if they're going to go that week or the following week. And if it's the following week, so y'all could just run on up there to Connecticut, hike the 50 miles with us, and stop by Chattanooga on your way home, bust that out, and then just come on home. See how the hiking would loosen you up. The hiking would loosen you up. It would be like prepping, just good limbering section.
Yeah,
just a warm up.
Yeah, warm up, man.
Don't even sleep.
We slept
eat
good.
Or hydrate.
Look, you have nothing else to do but walk, eat, and sleep on that trail. And it's dialing in your sleeping system, which that was one thing. As soon as we got home, I replaced my sleeping pad, and it was too thin. We did stay in the shelter that night. So when my sleeping pad, which I bought for my hammock, but it's 2 inches thick. It's self-inflating, but 2 inches thick. Well, even though I had lost that weight, man, I could turn on my side and my hip bone and my shoulder bone would be touching the floor. So I ordered me a 4-inch thick sleeping pad, and I got it in. I've tried it on the floor. I'm going to try it a couple more times. I'm not sure I'm satisfied with it either, but I'll make up my mind. We've got several items. Good thing about REI. Hey, good thing about REI, you have up to a year to return any product you buy from them. And so even the air pad, the sleeping pad I tried on the trail, and I'm just not satisfied with it. I can take it back, full refund. We've got several things. That shoes she bought that last week before we left, we're going to take those back. There's several items we'll take back because either they just didn't meet our expectation or we just see we don't even need them. So,
do you have any smaller overnight hikes you'll be planning anytime soon?
Well, I hadn't planned any, but I'm wanting to because I don't want to just sit here and
not do anything for a couple months.
Well, and the thing is, kind of like Dylan asked in the beginning, what have I done since I got home? I'll be honest with you. I've hiked these trails here and prepping for the T. I put so many miles on them, I'm bored with them. I want some new scenery. So to do that, I don't want to drive 3 hours away to hike 5 miles to get back in my vehicle and drive 3 miles back home. I want to do it and do an overnight, where I hike in, spend the night on the trail somewhere, and then continue to hike on out the next day, or maybe even make a long weekend of it. I don't know. But I hadn't made those definite plans yet. But yeah, those are going to be coming up because I've
only ever gone out and done one little backpacking trip,
Yeah.
And again, it was just one night. Of course, it was also very, very hot when we did it.
Yeah.
But I want to go out and do some camping and hiking and stuff. And haven't used this. I've only used this backpack once, so I want to
Yeah.
put it back to use. And
I'm interested. I'd be more likely to do just something closer
Yeah. Exactly.
than shorter than going to Connecticut this year. Maybe next
Well,
year
yeah.
I could hop on one of the longer stretches,
Yeah.
but I don't. I got too many
Well,
plans
hey.
this year.
with
But
that
I'm
marathon in
super
October,
interested.
it's
Yeah,
tough.
Sipsey, Alabama, or the William Bankhead National Forest in Alabama. I don't remember, was it 2.5, 3 hour drive, something like that?
yeah.
It's got its challenging of hiking trails, and you can pick the length you want. Man, you can get on that all trails and just tell it, on your search that I want a hike that's between 5 to 15 miles. I want it where it's backcountry camping or backpacking, and it'll filter those searches down, narrow it to the hikes that will best match what you're looking for. And hey, I'm game for that. If y'all want company, well, we can pack it up one weekend. And
All Trail shows Sipsey Wilderness has 33 trails on it.
Yep.
Of course, that's
Let's
where I
do it.
was looking at because
Hey.
I was trying to plan one with my brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said he's done Sipsey before, and he said he really enjoyed it. And that's where I was wanting to try to do one, that or what was it? Y'all went to the Buffalo River or something when y'all
Yep.
2017?
Yep.
Because I remember the pictures from that one,
Arkansas.
and that place just looked beautiful. But
Oh yeah, we drove by there. It looked amazing.
The William B. Bankhead National Forest in Alabama
That's in Alabama.
shows 51 trails. And I
Well,
think
let's do it.
I think the William Bankhead is where my buddy Richard Martin Jr. hikes. And you can look him up on Facebook. It's called Trail Church. And that's what he does. He picks a waterfall on the weekends, and he'll lead a hike into
There's
that
so many.
waterfall in on Sunday, and then have a worship service at that waterfall, and then hike back out.
Wow.
He's an awesome guy. But Trail Church, he even said, hey, I'm the only one there is. If you want to start one in your area, hey, just call it Trail Church. But yeah, they've got, like I say, you can go in there and, like I say, filter it, which you already know. So distance, length, let's tell it we want 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 miles. That brought it down to 10 hikes.
are they typically loops? Are they out and
Well,
back?
it just depends. Now you can limit it to that. I believe there's the style. Yeah, you can do loop. When I did loop, it cut it down to 6. And I'm going to tell it I wanted a waterfall. So to do between a 10 and 20 mile loop hike, that you'll see a waterfall. In the William Bankhead National Forest, it cut it down to 2. There's the Bunyan Hill Wild Horse / Wagon Trail Loop, which I believe we've done that one, but it don't show complete on there. And there's the Sipsey Wilderness Loop Trail, which is 19 miles. The Bunyan Hill Wild Horse / Wagon Trail Loop is 12.6 miles, and the Sipsey Wilderness Loop Trail is 19 miles even. Both of them are rated moderate. And they're both in my saved categories.
That Sipsey Wilderness has a little bit more. Oh, it's also much longer. Never mind. That would be fun to go out. Of course, we're not looking for some crazy elevation gain right now, since I've only ever done one like real hike and stuff.
Let me see. You can tell. Oh yeah, here you go. You can limit the elevation gain on that dude. Hey, one of those.
I like this.
Let's see which one it is. That Bunyan Hill Wild Horse Wagon Trail Loop. It's 12.6 miles long, and it has only 715 feet of elevation. I can handle that one.
Easy money.
My wife could do that in sandals.
Hey, and Dylan, dogs are welcome, so you can bring your kids if you want.
Oh man, that hurt.
Bring the leash.
Yeah, they probably have
I'm
to be
gonna
on a
bring a
leash.
chicken. Bring one of my chickens with me.
Hey, it's got an overall rating of 4.4 out of 5 stars with 93 reviews.
Yeah, but
That's pretty good.
I'd be interested. I would have to take an extra day off to get back on a sleep schedule suited for a hike, but
Or just quit.
You're looking at maybe 6 miles a
working
day.
on it.
hike in 6 miles. We'll just have to find out of how they let you camp there. Like in Maryland, you have to camp in the designated camping area. You can't just backcountry camp, pull off the trail camp. Well, it's illegal, let's put it that way. Not that you can't, but we can look at it and make sure that in that area, if you're allowed, a lot of times like that, they'll let you pull off and camp anywhere. You just can't build campfires everywhere, so that may be a restriction, but we're carrying our own camp stove, and that's not an open fire. That's for cooking, heating water, for coffee and stuff. That's usually permissible.
Yeah, I have zero gear of any type. I mean, I have tennis shoes.
But you're the goat. The goat.
Yeah, I mean that's what
I've got to upgrade some gear, but I have some stuff. I think my sleeping bag is 50 degree.
In regards to like
mine's
shoes,
mine's a
do you
40.
recommend trail shoes or like hiking boots?
That's up to you. A lot like Bill that went with us. He needed the mid boots at least for ankle support.
Yeah.
So it just depends on your needs and requirements for support. How much support do you need? I mean, so obviously in our group, it went anything from hiking boots to sandals. Yeah. I mean, so, hey, don't try to follow my wife is all I can tell you. She'll hurt you. But, it really is. And what's the terrain? What is the terrain?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the same type of rocks, that we've had. Now, we were in Teahaw State Park in Alabama, and they have one little 1 mile trail over there, but it tells you extreme elevation. And I took pictures of Dana. I may have even recorded some of it. It was literally hand over fist boulder climbing up the side of a hill, mountain, whatever you want to call it. So Alabama can have some rocks now. So. Yeah, but really, as far as the footwear, it's what are your needs? What I do probably might not work for you.
Yeah, I got some of those Lone Peaks to do my trail runs in, and I'm considering, or trying to do some hikes with them.
Yeah.
Of course, with it being so hot, I just haven't wanted to get out and do anything really. But
yeah.
I could just go out and walk around my pasture and get some kind of gain,
Oh, yeah. All
right, so I'm putting together a list, just basic stuff I'd need for, say, we're going for 2 nights.
Bug spray.
Hiking in. Like, besides, like, the bug spray and the little... big things?
Not a single bug on our hike trip in Maryland. 3 snakes, non-venomous. There's 3. 3 snakes, non-venomous, but no bugs, no mosquitoes. All right. What's on your list already?
Shoes. Well, I'm going to put shoes.
Okay.
My brother has some of those Merrells. You have to see if he likes them. I think
what size you wear?
10.5.
8.5? Got
10.5.
Huh?
10.5.
Oh, okay. My wife has you covered then. If it was 8.5, I had you, but 10.5, my wife's got you, man. We was in a boot store one day and they said, "What size boot you wear, ma'am?" She turned to me, she said, "What size you wear?" She looked at me, she said, "I wear the same size he does." I said, "Don't you ever tell somebody you wear the same size shoe I do." I looked at him and said, 14.5, but anyway, but you usually you don't start with your shoes, but you can. For backpacking, you typically the big 3. First is your pack. And if it's like we're talking about 1 night or 2 night, your pack may not be as important, as a full section hike or especially a through hike. You might get by, on a pack that's not just the perfect pack for you, but it's sufficient for that. But it's your pack, your sleeping system, which is typically, are you going to use a tent or are you going to use a hammock? And then with that hammock, you're going to need a tarp or a rain fly system. Will you need an under quilt, or are you going to use some type of quilt system inside the hammock? The tent, Is it going to be self-standing, and everything? But then you're going to need, in a hammock, most people don't use sleeping pads. A lot of people don't. But in a tent on the ground, man, you honestly need a sleeping pad, and then maybe your sleeping bag, something. You need cushion between you and that hard ground. But there's that. And typically in your sleeping system, but it's usually, your big three, it's usually pack, sleeping system, which is usually either hammock or tent, and then your sleeping bag, or some people use what they call an overquilt. So that's the big thing. Then you start figuring out the clothes you need. Even on that trail we did, which we planned for 4.5 days, I wore a pair of shorts and took a pair of shorts. I wore one shirt and I took an extra shirt. Now I took extra socks in case they couldn't dry. But on that trail, nobody's bathing. So what did it matter? I didn't take deodorant. Yeah. I didn't take anything, right. So, but now if you're going to do a family or friends hike for a night or two, you're probably going to carry some stuff you wouldn't carry, like on that section hiking and we went on. And not that it's any less challenging, you're just not going to be there as long. And where we had to, some of our weight in our backpack had to be for extended food and some other things. Well, yours can be for the luxury items, they call them. Hey, we had a camp chair. We all had camp chairs in our packs.
Yeah, the pack that I have is actually much bigger than I would really need. But I got a 65 liter. It's the Teton Sports Explorer 4000.
Yeah.
It's like $85-$90 on Amazon or something.
Yeah.
But it's much bigger than I would need, really. Yeah. But it worked.
Mine is a 60 liter that I used for that hike.
The clothes that I wore, I actually me, Jordan, and Jacob all went to a sports academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just bought some of them. I bought a Magellan fishing shirt, and then the pants that have the zip sleeves where I could cut my pants into the shorts.
Yeah,
and I slept like that. And then when I went back hiking, I just zipped the other half back on. I figured I might do that again, but this time
I had some of those when I was a kid.
It was convenient because it was hot. So
and see, I would be the opposite. I would wear shorts hiking, and if needed, I would zip the pants legs back on at night. In a hammock, you lose, they say, on an average of 15 degrees. So if it's 50 degrees at night, it's 35 degrees is what you're feeling underneath you, under that hammock, because the air is flowing under you. In a tent, you're on the ground. It's insulation, plus you have a pad and it's insulation. But that's why I took a pad with my hammock, because all the pads have a universal R rating on them. And so you can get a pad, you can get a 1 season, 2, 3, or 4 season sleeping pad with how much insulating properties it have. So with that, for me, which on this trip, I never I only carried shorts. I bought some zip-offs. Dana wore hers, but I left my zip-offs at home. I bought a long sleeve white Magellan fishing shirt. With me. I left it at home. I didn't take it. I carried it because it rolls up tight, and I had it in my backpack, but I used it for my pillow at night. So if I'd have needed it for cooler temperatures, I would have put it on, but I didn't need it for that. So I used it I left it rolled up with a rubber band around and just used it for my pillow at night on my pad. So multi-purpose. There's many things you can carry with you that serve more than one purpose, the better.
I got to go pee real quick. So
go.
I'll be right back.
Hey, take my water filter with you.
I'll try that.
Bring it back. So we got some comments on YouTube in the chat. A new name I haven't recognized before. Hillbilly is called Hillbilly.
Okay, he's not me.
Maybe his name's Billy.
Maybe so.
He's from the hills. But he said insoles are everything when walking.
Yeah.
Every ounce is a pound. Pack wisely. So apparently they know a little bit about this subject. Thanks for the advice, Hillbilly.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we've been getting at.
I see who Hillbilly is.
Hillbilly. YouTube chat.
Yeah, I see it. So now you take my Lone Peaks. It's hard to get inserts for my Lone Peaks because of the big wide toe box. There is a company, I heard them talking about it on a podcast, that makes them for it. But then the threat for me, maybe not everybody else, is that one insert still zero drop? Because that's why I wear my Lone Peaks, is the zero drop. Now I like the big toe box, but the zero drop helps with my low back injury and my sciatic issues that I have. But I guarantee you, every ounce is a pound. Pack wisely.
Amen, Hillbilly.
Yes.
Peyton is lost.
So,
So there's this
you
thing I
said
saw on. Go ahead.
So you said you have a camp stove that you're bringing, so you don't really do many campfires.
We didn't build a campfire the entire time we were on the trail. Oh, I say entire time. Come on. It was only, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. With the 3 nights on the trail. So it's not like, we were gone for a year or anything. But we didn't build one. But we carry even if we did, I would still use my cook stove for prepping for my meals. I wouldn't try to use the campfire stove, because
I got these little stormproof matches.
Yes, you can light my
like
stove.
Fire.
You can light my stove
You
with
gotta have
that.
a fire. If you're going for just the camping, I
I
feel
hope
like
these
your main
things
purpose
still
was
la-
the hike.
I hope these things still last, but they're beefy little things.
Try one.
Nah, it won't go
Right
out.
now.
That's what we were hoping to see.
And my smoke detector is unplugged, so it wouldn't work anyway. Oh, I don't have one. Never mind. It's gone. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had that and some of this Tinder stuff.
Yep.
Fire sticks. He just
All
keeps those by his desk.
Can you back country camp? Ooh,
So I saw this thing on
in the
YouTube. So people have, I guess it's
is
just like,
national.
I don't know, just some like suggestions. But these people were doing like community building. They were in like, I think Washington State area. And they're like Second Amendment people, which is rare up there, obviously. Well, that's what you think. But they were like getting together and doing like a hike, a 20-mile ruck / hike. They said all you need to bring is like your headlamp and your 35-pound pack and whatever, your water. And if you wanted to bring, what's it called? A chest rig, because they're like into that type of stuff, or like a gun or whatever. You could bring that, but it's not required. But they were like hiking, rucking, hanging out, camping that night, and like doing push-ups or whatever. I was like, man, that's just, I'm Peyton, let's do it. Let's go hike out. Manhood.
Bro, I'm all for it, going out hiking. I just pulled my bag out. I was checking.
Do 5 push-ups and then cook on a campfire.
Have it right next to my desk. Oh, I didn't even know I had this. It's crazy when you open a pack you haven't opened in years. You start finding things you didn't know you had.
At least you knew where your pack was.
He had it packed.
I got some utensils.
There you go. Need some food.
I'm thinking about getting this little thing Jonathan uses at work. He's got this little foldable spork or something.
That sounds handy.
Yeah. Sounds like it'd be much better than whatever these things are.
See, we have titanium long sporks because when we do those free-dried meals, you eat them out of the bag, and those bags are deep. So the longer extended titanium, they're still light, but they let you reach to the bottom of those bags when you're eating.
You learn as you go.
That's it. Guarantee you.
So with the freeze-dried meals that you tried, the ones that you brought, did you like them?
Oh, we love them.
Which ones did you end up carrying?
Let's see. We took Peak Refuel. We took their, I think, chicken pot pie, chicken and broccoli and cheese. We took an Alpine Air grilled chicken, spinach, fettuccine, Alfredo fettuccine. My wife said if we have company that comes over, we're going to buy a couple of those packs, fix them, and put them in a big bowl and act like we cooked it. Because, man, that stuff was like, it was as good as you was at Olive Garden. But any of the Peak Refuel we've really enjoyed. That Alpine we enjoyed. There were actually some of the Mountain House that you can buy at Walmart, that were decent and good. They have a chicken and dumpling that's good. It was good. But I'm going to tell you, the one that blew me away above all of them was the Peak Refuel biscuit and sausage gravy.
That sounds good.
Oh, man.
That got me hungry.
It was crazy. I don't know if I can show you a picture on here. I mean, I took pictures. Nothing ever looks like the pictures on a menu or anything when you go to a restaurant or anywhere. This was better than the pictures. I'm like crazy. I couldn't wait to open it. And remember, this is not dehydrated. This is freeze-dried meals. So I really hadn't, that I remember, dealt with any of those. And, man, when I opened this dude, it was a surprise of a lifetime. When I ate it, even my wife said, we've eaten a lot of sausage gravy by a lot of people, but this was as good, if not better, than any of them. Now, you see the bag? All right, that's the picture on the bag.
Yeah.
All right, now, this is when I opened the bag. Look at that dude.
Wow.
Then, there it is when I cooked it.
Man.
It was literally like you had homemade sausage gravy and you just broke your biscuit up and put it down in it to eat it. Oh my goodness.
1,100 calories for a bag too.
I'd sit
Say
there and
again?
eat everything.
1,100 calories for a bag of that too.
Yeah. But that's what you want when
Calories.
you're on the trail. You want calories on the trail. And you want the most calories per ounce. So that's why you don't carry, most people don't carry fresh fruit. They don't carry MRE stuff. It's either dehydrated or freeze dried. But
so you say you have up to a year to return things to REI. Can you return used Peak Refuel?
I don't know. I'll ask them. I'll collect some of it and ask them.
Oh, this chicken Alfredo pasta looks pretty good. 53 grams of protein in it.
Yeah, I'm
only talking because I'm hungry too. So
yeah. Now there's a bunch of companies out there, and I'm sure all of them are good. And I'm sure all of them have one or two that it's their favorite within that one company or brand.
What time you got to leave, Peyton?
In like 5 minutes. I got to start getting ready.
We'll wrap it up then. I was gonna ask a whole nother question, but we'll save that for the next one.
I'm gonna say, we can do it again. I have lots of stories.
We'll have like 12 parts to
Hey, we can do a
series
on-site camping podcast.
Hey, we'll do one about safety while hiking as far as self-defense. Because I told you Monday I went to hike at Grenada and there was an incident and I only got to do 1.3 miles. And the incident was I was assaulted in the parking lot, sitting in my Jeep. And it involved 2 Rangers, 2 deputy sheriffs. And but hey, you see any bruises or scratches on the old man? But anyway, in all joking aside, and I know this is going to leave it hanging, you're going to go, what? It was actually a sexual assault with me sitting in my Jeep. I had a man walk up to my Jeep, reach through my driver's window, and grab my junk box. I mean, just out of nowhere. And it brought some reality to me. I've done a lot of hard thinking since then. They've already got investigators. I took pictures of his tag, had a picture of him, and their investigators are laying down all the paperwork, and I'm supposed to go tomorrow to file charges. But with that, I got home and got unplugged from me, and my heart broke for ladies and girls who have suffered true rape. I can't imagine what they go through. So hey, there's a whole nother episode. There's the feeder.
Wow.
And I can give you
the cliffhanger.
I can give you second by second play on it.
Man, this is
The
like
Well, we have to go ahead and schedule the next
spinning
one.
back elbow. Boom. But anyway,
We'll have to schedule the next one out. Peyton, for when a day that you're off work and you can go for 3 hours.
and where you won't be that scared to go to sleep after I tell the story.
don't worry, I can't go
I'm
to
gonna
sleep.
put that in my
it'll
notes
be
to ask
it'll be
you
while
about.
y'all are sleeping. I'll be awake. Don't worry.
But that's a true reality. That was a local trail. A 2-mile trail. You just gonna get out. And anyway, we'll save that for the next one.
Yeah, we'll train hand to hand with Jordan, and then hand to gun with somebody else.
Yep. Bring it on. We got the dummy. If the light was on, I could see him in my backyard.
Or 1v1 in his backyard. Whoever wins leaves. And a cop car.
Well, all right, everybody.
Hi, it's fun, guys.
It's fun.
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Follow.
Hey, thanks
us
for
at the
having me.
normal
No,
places.
thanks for letting the
Yeah.
old
Hey,
man.
this is our first scheduled repeat guest.
Hey,
Yeah, we have like Peyton Franklin just randomly.
Yeah, like he joined the other day. This is the first one we've been trying to get Jordan back on for 3 months after his fight, and we just haven't done it yet.
yeah.
So,
I saw
Peyton,
the one where
schedule
y'all.
that out.
I saw the one where y'all brought Franklin in on it. I saw that one. I was watching. I try to watch you as often as I can live.
We see you. It's
We appreciate it.
appreciated.
Oh, I enjoy
Keep the
it. Thanks,
chats. It
guys.
keeps it moving too, and then we get
Yeah.
chats in.
Good.
But all right, everybody, we appreciate y'all staying tuned. It's pretty interesting. I'm excited for the next one. I hope y'all are too.
All right,
Good
guys.
Weekend
excited for this
podcast.
hike that we're gonna plan out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excited for the hike. Podcast drops every Monday. All the usual stuff. Check
Sounds
the
good.
description. Like, subscribe, whatever. We'll see y'all next time.